He was never a morning person until she started texting him at 6 a.m. He'd wake up instantly, smiling at his phone, laughing softly as he typed. I didn't think much of it until one day I grabbed his phone to check the weather and saw a message that made my stomach drop. "You're the first person I think about when I wake up." That evening, I casually asked, "Who's the first person you think about in the morning?" He smiled, "You, of course." I pulled out his phone and whispered, "Then why did she just say it's her?" His eyes went wide, and that's when he knew he had been exposed. I, 34 female, have been with my husband, 36 male, for 10 years, married for 7. We met in Seattle, where we both worked in IT. Things weren't always perfect, but I thought we were solid. We bought a small house in West Seattle, near Alki Beach. We adopted a dog together. We made dinner plans, paid bills, hosted friends. Normal couple things. He was never a morning person. I used to joke that I could run a parade through the bedroom, and he wouldn't wake up. On weekends, I'd be up at 7:30, and he'd still be snoring past 10. On weekdays, I usually had to poke him to get moving. I'm not saying this to complain, it was just who he was. Mornings weren't his thing. But a few months ago, that started to change. It was subtle at first. He started waking up early, like 6 a.m. early, and not just awake, but chipper. He'd reach for his phone immediately, smile at the screen, and start tapping away, chuckling softly. I remember the first time I noticed it, I asked, "Who are you texting at this hour?" He looked up and shrugged. "Just the guys. You know, that fantasy football group chat." I didn't think much of it. It made sense. He and his friends were obsessed with that stuff, especially around playoff season. They'd argue over stats for hours, even in the off-season. Still, something about the way he smiled at his phone made my gut feel weird. It wasn't the usual annoyed grumble he used to have in the morning. He was glowing. And laughing. A lot. At first, I told myself I was overthinking it. We'd been in a bit of a rut lately, sure. Work stress, routines, less date nights. But I didn't think anything serious was going on. We still had sex. We still cooked dinner together. We still said, "I love you." But I kept noticing how often he was on his phone, more than usual. He'd angle the screen away from me when I walked by. Or suddenly switch apps. His phone was always face down now. He started taking it with him even into the bathroom. He never used to do that. I'm not a paranoid person. I don't snoop. I respect privacy. But I started to feel like I was going crazy. One morning, I woke up before him and reached over to check the weather on his phone because mine was charging in the kitchen. That's literally all I was trying to do, see if it was going to rain, because I had errands and planned to walk the dog. I opened the lock screen, he had Face ID, and it unlocked automatically, and a new message popped up right then. It said, "You're the first person I think about when I wake up." It hit me so hard that I dropped the phone. My stomach turned. I felt like the wind got knocked out of me. I stared at the message, not even able to move for a second. My hands were shaking. I didn't recognize the number. No name. Just a message like that. First person she thinks about? Why is she telling my husband that? Why is he responding before the sun comes up? He stirred awake and saw me holding his phone. He blinked a few times, sat up, and said groggily, "Hey, what are you doing?" I just said, "Checking the weather." He didn't ask anything else. Didn't seem suspicious. Just took the phone and went to the bathroom. I sat there, heart pounding, trying to breathe. I felt like I was going to throw up. That evening, I couldn't shake it. I wanted to ask so bad, but I didn't want to accuse him without proof. I needed to be sure. So I waited. I stayed calm. I made dinner like usual. He kissed my cheek and said it smelled amazing. I smiled, but inside I was screaming. After dinner, we were watching Netflix on the couch. He was on his phone again, smiling down at the screen, thumbs moving. I turned the volume down and said casually, "Hey, random question." He looked up. "Yeah? Who's the first person you think about in the morning?" He didn't even hesitate. He smiled wide and said, "You, of course." My heart sank. My hands were cold. I reached behind me and pulled his phone off the armrest. I looked at him dead in the eyes and said, very quietly, then why did she just say it's her? His face went pale. His eyes widened like he'd been caught shoplifting in front of a cop. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He just stared at me, completely frozen. That was 4 days ago. He's been trying to talk ever since. It's not what it looks like. She's just a friend. It was emotional, but it didn't go anywhere. He swears he never met up with her. Says it was just texting. Says it happened because we've been disconnected lately. But here's the thing, I know my husband. I know when he's lying. And I saw the way he lit up when he read her messages. I saw it in the way he changed his habits. The way he started dressing nicer for work again. The way he smiled when he thought I wasn't looking. I asked to see the messages. He refused. Said he deleted them. Said it wasn't fair to dig through the past if he's trying to move forward. That's when I knew it wasn't just texts. There's more. There's always more. I'm typing this from a friend's house. I needed space. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. We've built a whole life together, but right now, it feels like I don't even know who he is. I'm stuck between rage and heartbreak. I haven't told anyone in our family yet. I don't want pity. I don't want advice. I just needed to get this out somewhere. Somewhere anonymous. Somewhere people understand how stupid and small it makes you feel when the person you trusted the most looks you in the eye and lies like it's nothing. I keep hearing that message in my head over and over. You're the first person I think about when I wake up. And I think about how I used to make him coffee. How I used to kiss his forehead while he was still asleep. How I used to leave little notes in his lunchbox when he had rough weeks. And I wonder if she even knows he's married. Or if she does, and just doesn't care. Either way, I'm sitting here with nothing but questions. And he's running out of answers. That night, after I sent the message to my friend saying I'd be staying over, I sat alone in her guest room with a blanket around me, just staring at the wall. My phone buzzed every few minutes. Him. Please talk to me. I love you. I messed up, but it didn't mean anything. Can we fix this? I didn't answer. The next day, I went home while he was at work to grab a few more things: clothes, toiletries, my laptop. The dog. I couldn't leave the dog behind. He followed me to the car like he knew something was wrong. He looked back at the door a few times, confused. When I walked into the bedroom to get some clothes, I noticed his phone charger wasn't by the nightstand anymore. Weird, because he never moves it. His cologne was missing too. So was his running gear. I opened the closet and saw his suitcase was gone. My heart thudded. I called him. He picked up fast. Hey, where are you staying? Silence. Then, at a hotel. Which hotel? Another pause. It doesn't matter. I just needed to give you space. But you took your gym bag, your laptop, your cologne. That's not space. That's moving out. He started to stammer. No, I just didn't want to be home alone. I'm still trying to figure things out. I didn't believe a word. My instincts were screaming again. So I went to our joint phone account online. He forgot I had login access. I pulled up the call and text logs. There she was. Dozens of texts a day. Starting early morning. Ending late night. Long calls. Some lasting over an hour. A few on his lunch breaks. He even called her the day of our anniversary twice. One number. No name. Always the same. I copied the number and put it into a reverse lookup app. It gave me a name, Danielle R. No last name. No photo. Just a first name and last initial. But it was something. I stared at that name like it had teeth. I was shaking so hard I dropped my phone again. Later that night, I finally messaged him. Just one sentence. Does Danielle know you're married? No reply. Then, you're tracking my calls now? That told me everything I needed to know. It wasn't just some emotional nonsense. He was deep into it. Calling her. Texting her first thing in the morning. Hiding things. Deleting messages. Keeping me in the dark while he built something with someone else. 3 hours later, he showed up at my friend's door. She opened it and called for me. I walked out and saw him standing there, holding flowers, like this was some high school apology scene. I didn't move. Can we talk? He asked. I stepped outside. Does she know you're married? He didn't answer. He looked at the ground. She does know, I said. You didn't even try to hide it from her, did you? She knows, he mumbled. But, did you sleep with her? Silence. I repeated it. Did you sleep with her? He looked up at me with the saddest eyes, like he wanted me to feel sorry for him. Yes, he said quietly. Once? I almost laughed. Once? Just once? Yes. I stared at him. His hands were shaking. He was still holding those stupid flowers. Where? At her place. So you've been to her place? He nodded. I couldn't breathe. How long has this been going on? I asked. He rubbed his face. 3 months. Maybe 4. I just kept looking at him. This man who used to rub my back when I was stressed. This man I cooked for. Cleaned up after. Shared my life with. This man who held me when my dad passed. He said I was lonely. You've been distant. Always tired. You don't even smile anymore. I stepped back. You cheated because I was tired? Because I was trying to hold a job, run a house, and keep us afloat while you smiled at your phone every morning. I didn't mean to fall into it. She listened. She made me feel like I mattered. And I didn't? He didn't answer. Then came the twist I never saw coming. She's pregnant. My legs almost gave out. I don't know if it's mine, he said quickly. She says it is, but I don't even know. I swear it was only once. I backed up until I hit the porch railing. My friend rushed out and stood between us. Get out, she told him. Now. He looked at me, begging with his eyes, but I turned and walked back inside. I didn't say a word. He stood outside for 10 more minutes, then left. I collapsed on the couch, heart pounding, staring at the wall. I haven't responded to any more of his messages since. I haven't told my mom yet. I haven't told our friends. I'm not ready for all the opinions, the advice, the pity. All I can hear in my head is her voice, this woman I've never met, saying he's the first person she thinks about when she wakes up. And now maybe she's carrying his child. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know I can't go back to pretending anymore. A week passed. I stayed at my friend's place the whole time. Every day, I got messages from him. They ranged from desperate apologies to angry guilt trips to long emotional voice notes I couldn't even bring myself to listen to. One night, around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. A different number. Unknown. I let it ring, then it went to voicemail. The next morning, I checked it. A woman's voice. Hi. I'm not sure if this is your number, but I think you're the wife. I'm sorry to do this like this, but I'm Danielle. My chest tightened. She continued. I found your number through his old Instagram posts. The ones with you in them. He said you were separated. I didn't know he was still married. Not really. He made it sound like it was over. She paused, then her voice cracked. I didn't know until last night. I found a wedding photo in one of his folders on his laptop. He said you were just roommates now. I feel like an idiot. I sat there frozen, replaying her words. She found our wedding photo. I'm not trying to make excuses, she said in the message. But I'm not the enemy here. He told me lies, too. She ended the message with, I'm so sorry. I didn't call her back. I didn't respond. I didn't know what to say. But I couldn't stop thinking about one thing. If she's only now realizing we're still married, then everything he told her was a lie, too. That afternoon, I drove back to the house. I needed answers. Not just texts and voice notes. I needed him to say things to my face. He was there. I didn't call ahead. When I walked in, the house smelled like lemon cleaner. He'd been trying to make it feel normal. Like wiping the counters down would wipe away what he did. He looked up from the couch, startled. Hey, I got a call from Danielle. His face dropped. She wasn't supposed to. She told me you said we were roommates. He started to talk, but I raised my hand. I don't care about your excuses anymore. I want the truth. All of it. Now. He nodded slowly and sat down. For once, he didn't try to lie. Maybe he realized it was pointless. Maybe he was just too tired. He said, it started as a stupid flirt. A joke, really. She worked in the office across the street. We got coffee at the same place. One day she smiled at me, and it felt like oxygen. Like someone actually saw me. I didn't say anything. I let him talk. She gave me her number first. I didn't plan to text her, but I did. It felt harmless. Then the texts got longer. Then they turned into calls. I told myself I wasn't cheating because it wasn't physical. But it was physical, I said. Yeah, he admitted. Once. And then she told me she was late. I freaked out. I told her we were separated. That we were just living in the same house. I didn't want her to walk away. Because you loved her? He shook his head. I don't even know. I think I loved how she made me feel. I was quiet for a long time. Then I asked, is she really pregnant? He looked down. She took a test. Sent me the photo. Said she'd go to the doctor to confirm. I haven't heard anything since. Something about that made me pause. You haven't heard from her? He shook his head. Not since last night. So I checked. I logged back into our phone account. No texts or calls between them in 24 hours. Something didn't sit right. I'm not sure why. Maybe I just had a feeling. That night, I sat up in the guest room, phone in hand. I finally messaged Danielle. Hi, this is his wife. I got your voicemail. Thank you. I have one question. Are you really pregnant? No response. For hours. Then, just after midnight, she replied, No, I'm not. My stomach dropped. I wrote back, Why did you say you were? She said, Because he was about to ghost me. I panicked. I didn't want him to leave. I stared at the screen. So now I knew the truth. He lied to me. She lied to him. They lied to each other. And I was the one left in the rubble. A relationship that shattered from the inside out. Built on silence. On small lies that turned into big ones. On two people looking for attention and escape, and one person holding everything together while they destroyed it all. Now I had to decide, was I willing to stay married to a man who wasn't just a cheater, but one who fell for someone who faked a pregnancy to keep him? Or was this finally the line I wouldn't let him cross? I still don't know what I'm going to do. But something inside me has started to shift. And I don't think I can go back to the woman I was before. After Danielle admitted the pregnancy was fake, something inside me snapped, not in a loud, dramatic way, but a quiet, clean break. Like when a rope finally gives out after months of pressure, and you hear that soft pop before everything collapses. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there on the guest bed with a message lit up on my screen, feeling like I'd just finished the final page of a book I hated but couldn't stop reading. The next day, I told him to meet me at our house. I told him Danielle had confessed. He showed up late, of course. When he walked in, I was already seated at the dining table. I had printed out screenshots, the call logs, the texts, the voicemail transcription, Danielle's messages. Everything. He stood across from me, eyes wary. I didn't invite him to sit. She lied, I said. He blinked. What? She's not pregnant. She never was. He ran a hand down his face and sat anyway, slowly, like his knees gave out. I'm so sorry, he whispered. I stared at him. You lied. She lied. And you were both prepared to ruin everything based on fantasies and manipulation. He looked away. Did you ever stop to think about what I was feeling while you were building your little escape world? I was in that house with you, cooking meals, folding your clothes, managing bills, waiting for you to be honest, and the whole time, you were sneaking around like a coward. I didn't know how to tell you, he mumbled. You didn't even try. And that was the moment I truly saw it. He wasn't a monster. He wasn't some villain with a plan. He was a weak, scared, selfish man who got in too deep and didn't have the guts to own it. But knowing that didn't help. I slammed the stack of printed messages onto the table. Read them. Every word. This is what you chose over honesty. He pushed the papers away. I can't. You will. His voice cracked. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. You never do. That's the problem. He started crying. Like really crying. Sobbing, shoulders shaking, head in hands. I had seen him cry before, but only when his dad died. Not like this. I don't know who I am anymore, he said. I messed everything up. I don't even recognize myself. I ruined the one thing that ever felt real. I watched him for a moment. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. I wanted to run. But instead, I sat there and just said, so what now? I'll do anything, he said. Therapy. Counseling. Whatever it takes. Please don't leave me. Just then, my sister walked in. I had asked her to come for support. She wasn't quiet about it either. Her voice was sharp and furious. Now he wants to fight for it? After faking a pregnancy and gaslighting you for months? No. He doesn't get to cry and beg now. He looked at her with a tear-streaked face and said, "This is between me and her." No, she shot back. It stopped being just between you two when you invited another woman into your bed and brought that chaos into this family. My parents loved you. My kids called you uncle. That hit hard. He actually flinched. She looked at me then and said, "You don't have to stay and clean this up." Not again. He stood up and whispered, "I'll go." Wait, I said. He turned, hopeful. I handed him the wedding photo Danielle found on his laptop. "This is the last lie you'll tell with my face in it." He took it, holding it like it was fragile, like it might burn. Then he left. And I didn't stop him. The days after were quiet but heavy. I filed for a legal separation. I told our friends. Some were shocked. Some weren't. One of his coworkers actually messaged me privately and said, "You deserved better." We all saw it coming. That hurt more than I expected. People knew. And no one told me. I moved back into the house alone. We agreed he'd stay with his brother until things were finalized. The dog slept at the foot of my bed every night like he knew I needed it. There were moments when I almost texted him. Not to forgive, but out of habit. Out of 10 years of routines. But I didn't. Danielle never messaged me again. I think she was just as humiliated as he was. Part of me wanted to blame her, but in the end, she didn't break us. He did. My sister stayed close. She helped me paint the living room one weekend. "New walls, new start," she said. It was silly, but it helped. I went to therapy. I started journaling. I got rid of the old sheets, the towels, the mugs with both our initials. The grief didn't hit all at once. It came in waves. Sometimes it was sharp and mean, like when I found a hoodie of his tucked behind the dryer. Sometimes it was dull and slow, like when I opened Spotify and saw our old playlist. But underneath the grief, there was something else. A strange, quiet sense of relief. I didn't have to carry the weight of keeping us together anymore. I didn't have to question if the smile on his face was meant for me or someone else. I was alone. But I was also free. In the end, here's what I learned. You can give someone your best years, your trust, your heart, and they can still choose to throw it away. That's not your failure. That's theirs. People will say, "He made a mistake." No. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. What he did was a choice. Over and over. And I'm done being someone's second choice. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I'll fall in love again. Right now, I'm just learning how to fall in love with me again. And maybe that's enough.